Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
How's it going, Steve?
Yeah, pretty good, other than I was a little bit late this morning.
No.
A little bit. What's that, 2 mornings in a row, basically?
Yeah, well, I was like, he's going to come out. I didn't come out. You were not even here.
Yeah, I was not even here. I spent the night at Rob's last night.
Yeah.
Thursday nights are our big video gaming nights with all the guys we grew up with. And we actually got off at midnight. I just must have been exhausted from all the work we've been doing. You know, I've been doing in the garden anyway. This isn't really exhausting work.
No, this is just mentally exhausting sometimes. It's not physically exhausting.
It is when you read a bunch of stuff and you're trying to figure out what is real and what's disinformation, misinformation, or lies.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a heated show today. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Not in the Newport part, because it's always decent there. I mean, Newport's not trying to kill us or anything, so. So we went to what the hell was it? Active, I don't know. The thing that Chief did last
Attacker.
night. Active Attacker, that's what it is. Been messing that up for a week now, but I had to cut out early because I had a zoning board meeting, but there's some good information to start with, and there was, I don't know, what do you think, 20 people there?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I would love to see more, but
20 to 25. Yeah. There's a lot of school administrators.
Yeah.
That were there.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was hard to, so one of the first videos they played was the audio recording of the Columbine and the lady in the library. And
yeah, I flinched twice, like when she yelled at the kids because you could hear it in her voice.
Yeah, just
it made me flinch. I was like, "Holy!"
Yeah,
I think I've heard it maybe a long time ago.
And I remember reading a book when I was in high school, and I knew the kids died in the library. So like in my head the whole time, I'm like, "Wait, this lady's in the library."
Why doesn't she lock the door?
Barricade
the door.
I just knew the results of what happened in the library. There was this book I read at one point that supposedly those kids asked this girl, whatever, if she was a Christian, and she said yeah, and he shot her, and like, so that they were asking questions like that, I guess, or whatever. But I read this book that she was one of the kids in the library. It was a good book. It was, and of course, it was closer to when it happened because I read it probably in 2000, 99, something like that.
Well, it happened in 99, so.
Yeah, so it had been 2000 then. Yeah, because I was still in school. And I remember, actually, I brought the book in and had my teacher read it, or my advisor, and it was a very powerful book. Like, it's just, yeah, crazy. Hard to listen to that stuff, hard to watch it, and, when for me personally, I sit there the whole time and like just one person, one good guy with a gun could end these things,
Well, I was thinking how messed up of a situation, and I don't know, it's just sad. Anytime you think about it, like
Yeah, who's so effed up in the head to do that stuff?
I don't know, there are people obviously out there that are.
Right.
And that's what's concerning is what's gone so wrong in your life.
That you feel that that's acceptable.
Yeah.
And the psyche of these kids, I think, is even different than the psyche of the kids today. Like, I would think it's actually quite a bit different. Like, they were loners. They were, I mean, not that I'm sure there's a lot of traits that are similar, but I just feel like, I don't know. It's a whole different world, too, back then.
It's disheartening when you think about it. And the point of the training is so that you do think about it, so that if, God forbid, you find yourself in a situation in a grocery store,
Right.
school, or anywhere out in, because I mean there were attacks everywhere. He put up stats. I don't know if it was before or after you left, but most of these types of things occur at a business.
Yeah, it was 50% was businesses, and then it went down from there, obviously. But I don't know. My whole advice out of the whole thing is the best way to protect yourself is to take self-defense classes and be trained in firearms and concealed carry.
Well, I worked in HR, and I used to tell the people that I worked with that when someone comes in here, because people snap on HR quite a bit,
Right.
either getting fired or any of those types of things. I'd always say, like, you never know what mindset they're in. When they come into our office, whatever they're in here for is the most important thing going on in their day.
Right.
They have taken time away from their normal job, transported themselves, whether walk, ride a bike, take a bus, whatever, to our office, and they need help from us. So lose your attitudes, because a simple flippant remark can set somebody off, like, or not knowing what, like, if the guys and gals I worked with didn't know what they were talking about, and they're just like, no, I can't help you. You're done, whatever. Because that's how people kind of talk in the Army, is, they're very blunt. And you can be blunt without being disrespectful.
Right.
And if I ever heard anybody being discourteous in the sense of the fact of, like, man, you need to have some compassion in their voice, because you're telling them that they're losing money, they're losing leave or, vacation days. You need to be polite about it. Like you're not in their chain of command. They don't know you. They just know that you're their last hope, because they've come up to our level now. Anyway, that's just things that I always thought about because of the risks, especially to HR.
Right. Yeah. It's a crazy world we live in. It really is. And
but the point of Chiefs training was to think about it.
Yeah.
So that
don't make the stupid mistakes that some people do.
So that you don't freeze up with fear and not lock
Yes.
the door.
Right. Which, I say stupid mistakes in hindsight. To those people, it was just they didn't think about it because they were in
frozen.
it.
They were
exactly.
like frozen
frozen in fear. And
like, I always call it fight or flight, but Chief has a 3-word phrase for it now. So I'm speaking old school language when I say that. But
right.
Or freeze. Is that what he says? Fight, flight, or freeze?
Yep.
So if you freeze, that's dangerous. And like you said, if you hide immediately, then, like, you're stuck. It's like watching a horror movie.
Right.
If you go and you hide in the one cabinet that's in the room and you can fit in there, and a bad person is taking their time, then they're probably going to open that cabinet. But he also said that, sometimes when people are like that, they're lazy. If the door's locked, they'll move on because they're trying to just create carnage.
Their mind is, it was a good.
It was impactful. It was powerful. One of the teachers that was there asked if they could link up and have all teachers kind of go through that.
I think it should be required, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that.
And the teachers go through training, because even whenever I was a long-term sub, we did drills. We talked about it. Like, most of what Chief said last night was covered, but I don't know if it was as impactful.
Right.
As sitting down as a group, watching it, listening to the phone calls.
Yeah, I think, it's...
Watching video of how different people reacted to situations like that.
Yeah. No, it's...
But the whole point of it is to think about it, because even though it's not likely to happen to any of us ever in our lifetimes, because it's a small...
Right.
It does happen, but not...
Right. It's a very small amount of times it actually happens, even though you hear about it constantly in the news. But it is. But at the same time, it's always better to be prepared than not be prepared and then somehow find yourself in that situation. And no, I thought it was a good presentation. And like I said, I only got to see about an hour of it because I had a zoning board meeting last night. But I think Chief did a good job, and it was definitely impactful. It was hard to sit there and listen and to some of just what and I'm sure there was stuff after that was even more impactful. And I don't know.
So appreciate Chief Wilmot and the Newport Police Department putting that on.
Yeah, Officer Stark was helping him with the slide stuff, and
we went over to some things that if the more members of the community would have been there to know that the police are kind of in lockstep, or they're in communication with the school.
Right.
So it's not two separate entities trying to plan and think about anything else. This was
right. It's a team.
Like, he knows what the school's reactions are going to be, or the plan, what their their security of the building is, and then they know what his reaction would be. God forbid if something like that ever happened.
Right. Yeah. So that was. I'm glad we went to it, and
positive, but on as somber.
Yeah, it's something that it's hard to do and hard to sit through, but at the same time, it's good training. It's good it's a good class to take because you just never know if you're in a situation like that. And it doesn't even have to be active shooter or anything. It could be any sort of crisis that you happen to be in. You're in a car accident. How do I react? Because some people
Did
just
you see a car accident on the side
Yes.
of the road?
get involved. And one of the things that it wasn't funny, but I don't know the word is, but he played a video of, and it was in England though, and Scott and I joked about it, but like there was a person that they had like 3 actors and actresses play like in pain in the street, whatever, and people just walk by because the mentality is when there's groups of people, people actually do less than if they're just an individual because they put the blame on someone like, oh, well, that other person's going to help them, so I don't have to. Because he said a lot of attacks happen in groups, like groups of people, and no one does anything. And I'm like, what the hell? Like I've heard this before too, but it's that mentality that because they think in their head like, well, someone else is going to help. So
I
don't
remember
have
in the
to.
5th grade, Mrs. Schaefer, my teacher, we watched, I don't know if we read something and we watched maybe, but there was a story in New York, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it's basically the same thing. I remember learning about in the 5th grade, somebody was getting attacked in an alley in New York City, and people were yelling out of their windows to keep it down or whatever versus coming out and helping while she was screaming for help. And so I learned about that, like I said, in the 5th grade, and so I'll never forget it. Like people, like I say I don't forget it because I don't want to be the guy that just dismisses and walks past somebody.
No, I mean,
Now, if somebody's hitchhiking and they look disheveled and everything else,
oh yeah,
I'm not going to
different.
give them a
Right.
ride. But
Right.
a family of 3 is walking down the street. Maybe I might be more likely because,
Right.
and you can see their car. Like there's like different. You're trained to react differently because you have biases that we all develop. And
Right.
if you see someone who doesn't look, if they look a little nefarious, you're not gonna, unless you have a pickup truck and you can let them get in the back or whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hear stories too where you don't pick up hitchhikers anymore, and which you can't risk it. But this was just like, someone in a city street,
Yeah, just laying
saying,
there on the stairs,
asking
saying,
for help.
saying,
Yeah,
help me.
it was.
Well,
yeah.
it was funny when he was showing it. The first one looked kind of like a drug addict from my perspective. So
Yeah.
I probably would have been like, really?
I know.
Like you kind of got what you deserve there. And so he said, what's the moral of the story? And I said, dress nicely, because they helped the guy that was dressed in the business suit because he fit in with the crowd that was there.
Right.
And so there is truth to that, though. Like if you walk by and you see somebody that looks like a tweaker and they're tweaking out, I mean, are you going to try to help them when there's stories out there about if people are on bath salts, they'll try to eat your face, or, maybe I'd call somebody. Maybe,
Right, let's call.
But I wouldn't stop and bend down and, I don't know, maybe I would.
Yeah, I know, it's hard to say.
But like I thought that one was kind of, because like, I think Chief kind of got it too, because he's like, so what's the moral of the story? And it was, dress nicer.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's also like, don't go slow and feel empowered, because while you're empowered, laying there looking like you're some type of drug. Because the first guy, I thought it was kind of, I'm suspect of those kinds of things anyway. But really, the actor did not look like he belonged in that part of town. Did not, you know what I mean? Like, and the way he was acting, I'd be like, oh, you're overdosing. Like, I'm not gonna be late to my meeting. I can walk and call 911 for you, but I'm not gonna sit there and risk my life that you're gonna get angry and rob me or whatever else. And then people might say, oh, that's judgmental of you or whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's how we form our opinions, right? We see or hear stories where this has happened.
Right. No,
So either the stories aren't true, that people, because it's a setup too. Like you've seen stories where people fake a broken down car.
Oh yeah, there's
so they can rob you doing that too. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're best to just call. So I was kind of that scenario. Like when Chief said, "What's the moral?" It's like dress nice, because
I said the moral was it was because it was in England and none of those people cared.
No, but that happened in New York City, like in the 50s. I don't know.
There's been lots of stories in New York City, like women getting raped on the subway that were in front of people and no one did anything. I'm like, But it kind of comes back to the whole thing. Like, we don't need teacher, and I say we, as in not me and you, but we don't teach our kids to stand up for themselves anymore.
Yeah, you've mentioned that several
Yeah,
times.
we don't teach conflict resolution. We don't, like, I don't know. I don't get it, man. I really don't. Like Lydia, I was having trouble at school, and she got in a fight. And you know what I would have done? I would have took her and that other girl, and I would have put them in a room and say, all right, you're going to work on this project, and you guys aren't leaving this room until this is resolved. Because that's how you actually resolve and fix something, so you don't have to keep dealing with it. Versus, well, we're going to sign this piece of paper that says, you're not going to fight. And no, screw that. We're going to sit down. We're going to see what the issue is. We're going to fix it right here and now. We're not going to play this game no more. And then you guys can move on, and you don't have to worry about tomorrow or a week from now dealing with the same thing. That's how you resolve issues, not, just avoid that person.
Sign a contract.
Sign a contract that says you won't do this, and just avoid that person. You can't avoid everyone in your life. You need to deal with it and move on. Like, yeah.
I agree with you.
I'll get fired up now so that when I get to the other story, I can really be fired up. But anyways, so on Monday, boys soccer meeting at the high school in the Lou Thompson room, 5 o'clock, to discuss options for the upcoming season. All interested in high school and middle school boys and a parent or guardian should attend. And if you can't attend but have a student or athlete planning on to play, please email Jeff Miller at sau43.org with the name and the grade and that they'll be on the fall. And then we've talked about this all week, but we'll talk about this part of it so tomorrow between 10 to 2 on the town common, come see the 36 newly constructed panels of the Newport Main Street Heritage mural beginning to take shape. Over 30 artists will make their mark on this beautiful piece of public art. And so this will be going on at the same time as Brewfest. So it's going to be really busy on the common tomorrow. So obviously Brewfest, you have to be 21. It's $40 a person to get in. You go around and you can sample all the different.
Is that $40 cash?
I don't know.
As a callback to me never having any cash when I'm with you.
Yeah, that's true. I don't plan on going to it, so I feel safe. No, I don't know. It could be either or no clue.
You're not going to Brewfest?
No, I don't like beer anyway, so I have a graduation tomorrow.
Oh, you do? Okay.
My little brother's graduating Kearsarge.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, and it's a perfect time to do it. So you have Brewfest, and then you have the mural festival too. It's a great time to do it. So check it out. There's some beautiful murals. They met their mark. They were raising money, and I guess they hit their mark they needed, which is good. Yeah. Also tomorrow, 6 in the Sticks at 9 a.m. if you want to do a 6K through the woods. PJ's, they're putting that on the rec center.
I got to get to where I enjoy running again. I just can't do it. It's kind of like what Chief said yesterday when someone tells you got to do something that's different than when you want to do something.
Yeah.
I still don't want to go out and jog.
No.
I like walking. I can go and walk a nice trail.
I like walking, jogging. I don't really.
The whole 100-mile wilderness kind of even ruined hiking for me because my brother turned it into a competition. And you know what I mean? I was not looking to compete there. I was looking to relax. And so I don't know. I got to get over all that kind of stuff.
True.
Just go out and enjoy for stuff for me, which is what we kind of did on the hike. We separated for a while. Did I ever tell you that story? I'll have to tell you that story sometime.
Yeah.
I ended up camping out by myself. Ended up looping back around. There was some trail maintenance. So I wasn't looking at my map. I was looking at the white dots on the trees because they put
Oh boy.
little dots up there to follow. So I followed the dots and I was like, this looks like I'm in someone's hunting camping ground. So then I walked up and then anyway, I ended up going back 6 miles backwards before I realized that.
Oh. So you did 106 miles.
Basically 112.
12. Good shit. Another 6 in and 6 back out. So next weekend, we've talked a lot about this, and we'll obviously talk about it a little bit next week too. But Wings and Wheels, 11 to 2. The Save a Stray 5K is at 10 a.m. that morning as well. that's a benefit to the Sullivan County Humane Society. So if you want to do a 5K, sign up for that. And that said, I saw a thing that said $50 for the like male and female like winners or something like that. And they're, yeah, I think it was just
This was actually a cash.
yeah, like a little bit of incentive. So if Chief wants to make $50, and then 4:30 to 10, Rolling Thunder. No, yes, well, Rolling Thunder event at the Moose. Their band and barbecue dinner, $25 per person. It all benefits Rolling Thunder, which is a good, it's a really great cause. And I'll be at the Moose. So if you're looking for something fun to do in the evening and dinner, and you don't want to cook, and there you go.
For anybody new to town, the Moose is across the street from the golf club.
Yes, Golf Club Road. Golf Club Road, 18. Yeah, that's about the local stuff. I'm trying to think what else we had.
We still have the fundraiser going on for the lights.
We do. So
I need to send some money in for that. I need to get that.
I did see the other day that Dunkin' Donuts was sending $500. So at this point, most people in town, I think, should have got a letter or should be getting a letter. I saw Kelly had a huge stack of letters she put on Facebook the other day of letters that are getting sent out to businesses and residents, trying to raise $300,000 for lights for the football field. So it's a total private fundraiser that Kelly Simpson's doing. And today's her birthday, by the way, too. Happy birthday, Kelly. We kind of talked about this for a couple of years now and how it's so great to go to a football game, especially at night under the lights. It's just something so different about it. And we don't have lights in Newport, and obviously the school can't afford to put lights up. So we're like, well, what if we just fundraise it? And finally, she's just got to the point where she's like, all right, I'm going to do this. She came to the board last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, actually, right? Yeah, 2 meetings ago, and got the approval from the board to use the name and for the project, and yeah, full steam ahead. And at some point, obviously, we'll talk in more detail about it as well. But they also could do night track meets. Claremont did one this year. I guess it was really cool. So yeah, that's good stuff going on.
And the schools also probably, over the next couple of years as the CTE renovations go on, they'll be looking for some donations as well to improve the ag and
Yep.
the vehicle. So if you have any equipment that you're changing out because it's reached its life cycle, but it's still, good enough to use, reach out to the CTE and see if they have a need for any of your equipment before you just toss it or
Yeah.
just throw that out there. I mean, we're just now beginning the CTE renovations. The construction managers on board. They're still waiting for some impact statements from environmental impact because of the wetlands. So, it hasn't started yet, but it's over the next few years. Something to keep in mind if you have a business that has looking for a tax write-off of some kind. Check in with the CTE for all the different departments to see if they need any of your equipment before you just toss it or
Yeah.
give it away.
Yeah. No, sounds good. Somewhere, because I've got like so many. So I have a lot of meme type things to put up today. So here we go. So here's the meme, one of the memes of the day. With the U.S., it's Clint Eastwood. So with the U.S. so divided, I'm just glad to be on the side that believes in God and has the most guns and knows which bathroom to use.
Did he really say that? Or is that just because he was sitting on that or talking to that empty chair? Remember that a few years ago?
I mean, I can't guarantee he said it because, but it wouldn't surprise me. He's pretty vocal too, in Hollywood. He's not the typical.
Yeah, well, he was governor of Carmel or something like that.
Yeah.
It actually was Carmel. It's not something like that. He was mayor of Carmel.
Hmm.
Did you know that?
No clue. So here's another thing. I'll put this picture up too. I find this hilarious. The first and only FDA EAU authorized single-use PCR quality molecular COVID test. Basically, you put it in your mouth and you can blow into it and it'll tell you if you have COVID or not. I find that hilarious because before they had to stick a swab into your brain to tell if you had COVID.
Let me just tell you something. And anybody out there that wants to try me on this, I will never, ever, ever voluntarily get something shoved up into my brain cavity to see if I have something that I have no symptoms for. Ever in my life will I ever do that. I don't care if it keeps me from going anywhere else other than my house. I will not do that.
Yeah, I would think, that's a smart thing. Why? Why would you?
Why would you subject yourself to that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, the flu swab is bad enough.
Yeah.
Like Nikki lost respect for me because of the way I reacted when she tested me for the flu.
Yeah, and the COVID one, they stick in your, well, they don't anymore.
They go further.
Now you can just breathe into this little thing that'll tell you if it's COVID or not.
So they're still under emergency use authorization, I see. So that means there's no drug that's been approved.
It'll always be under that so they can make more money.
Oh, but do you remember?
Fauci,
When Comirnaty came out, they said, oh, it's approved now. And they tried to make everybody in the military say, oh, it's approved, so now you have to get it. It's no longer experimental. They did that. And Comirnaty, however you pronounce it, is still not out there. It'll never be out there because if they make it available, then all this EUA stuff goes away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying there's no COVID or anything else like that. I'm saying people should be suspicious of the monetary shenanigans that are at play here to get more money out of all of us, either through our tax dollars or through our pocketbook. Because somebody's paying for all this.
Well, I had time. I was waiting for you to show up this morning. I watched this video of...
You had plenty of time to prep. You had some pre-prep last night, and now you had... Full hour of prep.
Fauci in Congress again. Of course, he was zooming in. I don't know if it's because he has COVID now. I don't know if it was yesterday he did this or what. But him and Rand Paul, I always love it, the combination, because there's no love lost between those two. But he basically said, all right, there's a Senate paper that's redacted, basically that has all these scientists on there that have gotten royalties and all this money from pharmaceutical companies, but their names are all redacted. And he asked Fauci, like, if you ever received royalties and whatever, and he says between 15 and 20, 2015 and 2020, he was naming some royalty thing he got unrelated to people, but of course he didn't mention anything about 21 and 22, which would be where COVID was. And
20 was...
Well, started in 20, but the vaccines and everything really were heavy in 21, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but,
right after the election.
Yeah. But
before the election, everybody said they weren't ever going to do it because Trump was supporting it, and then as soon as Biden supported it, everybody went out and changed their tune, so now all of a sudden they were good enough. Like, hello? It's childish baby games going on. Like, this isn't a conspiracy. You can literally go and see them all say, I'm not taking the Trump shot.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact...
Harris was one of the biggest ones to say that.
And then as soon as the parties flip, oh, it's okay to get it now because Democrats are in charge. What?
Right. Same company made it, by the way, just so you know. It wasn't like the people making it changed.
I would like for somebody to come in here and sit down and tell me exactly how that's logical and reasonable and makes sense to them.
I don't know. Starting to lose faith in humanity.
I mean, I think that's a valid question. That if you think about it, if I were one of these let's go get it, we need to do this for the greater good, communism, socialism, blah blah blah. You don't have individual rights anymore. And then I showed them this, and I said, look at what they said in November, or let's say October, right before the election. They would never take this shot, and then the parties change, and now if you don't get the shot, you're a pariah, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're an anti-vaxxer, you're all kinds of negative things. And it's like, well, weren't you that 4 months ago? That's what bothers me is it's a game. Like, it's not a game, like in the sense of tag, you're it, but it's basically a game where it's all about clout and everything else. And so then you got to start asking yourself, do I really trust any of these people? If they would
You shouldn't.
if Trump would have won, then they all would have been exactly where I am right now, right? So they could they not see that? Because even if Trump would have won, I still wouldn't have gotten a vaccine. Like, it doesn't matter. It's all background information from my perspective.
Right. Trump's the one that pushed the thing to develop as fast as it did and everything else. And I still won't get the vaccine. I don't care if because I supported Trump or not. And I still am not getting it. I don't care who came up with it.
Yeah,
why would I get something?
It's an experiment. You still have to sign like a
4
waiver
documents
saying that you understand that you can't
sue them if something happens to you,
and that you're part of an experimental group. Like, it's an experiment.
Hmm?
I lived too long to go participate in an experiment, and my child hasn't lived long enough to participate in an experiment.
Yeah, when you have something with a death rate of so little. I mean, once you get to 65 up, it changes. It's like 6% or something like that. But, and it's still, if you look at the facts, like 80% of those people had four underlying conditions. Obesity would be one of them, and then could be breathing issues. Four different issues.
There are people who are listening to you right now thinking that you are a conspiracy theorist and you have no idea what you're talking about, even though we can go find all those documents and put them up on the screen.
Most people don't watch the show, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, the goal would be to have
some
everybody
people that
watch
the
our
show. Well, that would be the goal. Some people watch the show that normally wouldn't watch the show just to see what we're going to say. But
well, for those people, ask yourself this question. The five of you that might be watching that totally disagree with...
That still wear a mask, even though Fauci's got COVID for the second time, and he's Mr. Mask, Mr.
He's not Mr. Mask. He was at the baseball game right after he dictated to the world, or, to the U.S., to wear a mask, and then you sit there and there's pictures of him with a mask down around his chin or wherever it was.
Those masks are just the new MAGA hat. So if you're wearing a mask out there today, just showing you're a liberal, just like if you were wearing a Trump supporter hat or whatever. Same thing.
Yes, astute observation, Timothy.
Yeah. Let's get into...
I like that analogy.
Yeah. Let's get into this one, because this one I told you I was going to guess on some list probably for, which I don't care. So, dead cows in Kansas due to heat. So, I took this from Newsmax. You can find it other places, mixing up my sources. So
you're spreading your wings. I like that, Tim.
I'm trying, So the Kansas Department of Health and Environment is aware of at least 2,000 cattle deaths that occurred in the southwest part of Kansas. And so the Matt Lara, the agency communications director, told NPR Thursday, so it must be no, it was yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday. Lara also he confirmed that drought-like conditions made it difficult for cows to stay cool. The agency ballpark estimate 2,000 cattle deaths reflects only the loss of people asking to help dispose of the carcasses. So the ones that might have lost them that didn't ask for help, they don't even know. And as such, the actual death count could be tangibly higher. The new losses come at a time when cattle farmers across the Great Plains are already gripping from high winds in the area, which could potentially lead to wildfires, which has no relevance to the story whatsoever.
Just getting some more fear in there for you.
Yeah. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor website, a large swath of western Kansas is currently being classified as abnormally dry or in a drought. States like Kansas have had to make quick adjustments in surging heat. In Mescal County, citing weather data from Kansas University, the heat rocketed from 79.9 degrees on June 9th to a scorching 101.1 degrees just 2 days later. So basically what they're saying is these cattle died because it was too hot and they're in a drought. And I call bullshit because, let's see, it's hot in Texas like that every year. Cows don't just all drop dead.
It was 107 degrees the other day.
Yeah. So I did some of my own research to look on different websites about different things, just to bring to the show that this story is absolute crap, and there was like 4,000 comments on the Newsmax.
Is it garbage?
It's garbage. So the highest recorded
Suspect.
very suspect. So the highest recorded temperature in Kansas was in 2012 when it was 110 degrees, and all the cows didn't die then. And in July in 2015 it was 108 degrees. These are the records, and all the cows didn't die. And then if you go to southwest Kansas, and if you look at the map, and it's a 30-day window here of rain, okay? And if you go through it, and so and I can't show this on the thing, but so on the 19th, the area got between a quarter of an inch to a half inch to almost 3/4 of an inch in one section. And then as you just go through, like the next day they got none. And then here we go, another half inch, a little more than a half inch on the 25th of May. And then none on the 26th, 27th, none, 28th, none, 29th, none, 30th, none, 31st, none. Now June 1st, very lowest part, about a quarter in the bottom. On the 2nd.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. I think we get the point.
Yeah, well, here's one right here. Let's talk about this one, okay? On the 7th, literally 10 days ago, the whole southwest corner got 2 inches. One section got 3.5 inches. I mean, so a drought. Like, we've had weeks with no rain in New Hampshire, and it's not.
Well, New Hampshire. That's what my point I was going to make. So New Hampshire's been in like a drought status since I basically moved here.
Right.
And this is the point that I'm going to make, because somebody could sit here and argue with us that it was a temperature swing increase and they were already under drought-like conditions for a couple of years before. I'll tell you this much. I drove on Burpee Hill Road this morning, and last week or a couple of weeks ago it went from like 60 to 96 degrees over a couple of days. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a 36-point swing. We're under drought-like conditions. I did not see a bunch of dead cows, nor did we hear about a bunch of dead cows here in New Hampshire, because we have cattle up here.
I have cows.
Yeah. So did they die in that 30-degree swing over those 2 days?
No, you just had to make sure they had water. So you're going to tell me that there's no water in Kansas anymore? Because...
Well, who knows? I mean, our electricity is doubling for whatever reason.
Yeah, so this just goes perfectly with the fact that food places keep burning. We have lab-grown meat coming out this fall. I mean, if you want to go down the rabbit hole.
Hey, no, that's an experiment that you can add that to the no experiments done on Stephen Dubs now that he's out of the military.
So I have this thing
right
here.
I will not I will not eat Soylent.
I have a tweet right here from this man, Thomas McDonald, who lives in Kansas. And this was the 7th of June, and he shared this tweet. So just got a letter from the FDA. I can no longer take my Black Angus to the slaughterhouse. They will pay me $2,300 per head to destroy them. This is unreal. So
why are they not letting him take his Angus to the slaughterhouse?
Well, so that we can create a shortage of meat, just like the shortage of foods, because these places keep burning. And then now all of a sudden,
it's not too late to start a garden, no matter what size your yard is.
Yeah, that's true.
If you live in an apartment, get you some potted. You can get tomatoes.
And
you can grow almost anything in pots these days.
Yeah, it might be a good idea, because your energy costs are going to double. Your gas has already doubled, and
$5.75 for heating oil right now.
And now, mysteriously, all these places keep burning, and suddenly heat cows, kills them. It's just amazing. Let's go, Brandon. And there's this other story I found that let's keep in mind. So first, Biden said that he was going to beat big meat because of its greedy meat conglomerates' fault for everything that's more expensive, and not his policies. It's already somebody's fault, Putin's fault, that cows are dying in Kansas mysteriously just because, it's hot. Yeah, I'm sure. And,
our own government.
Yeah.
is working against us. If y'all haven't figured that out yet, whether it's through, and people like to say it's through incompetence and because this is all being done on purpose.
Yeah. And so here's another meme.
Why is the FDA like now? In this one case, like we could get fact checked, and this guy could be like the worst Angus producer there is in Kansas because he feeds them something or gives them some type of hormone. I'm sure you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, but if that was the case, the FDA is not going to pay you money to not bring your cattle there. Like, I could call the FDA up and say right now, hey, I got 4 cows and a calf. I'm going to bring them to slaughter. They'd be like, yeah, okay, I don't care. Well, no, Tim, we'll pay you $2,300 a piece if you destroy them. It's not going to happen. I've had this meme for a while, and this is a perfect day to use it. I haven't had a chance. I've had this for such a long time now. It says, in 1873, the U.S. government killed 1.5 million buffalo to starve Native Americans so they would become more dependent on the government. Fast forward to today, and the government is creating food shortages to achieve exactly the same goal. And you can fact check that all you want.
So they're creating food shortages, gas shortages. What else? What other shortages we got going
Baby
on?
formula.
Kind of covers under food.
Gets opened again, and then mysteriously the place floods. There's a flood, and they have to close for several weeks now. Like, we've had floods around here.
Yeah, I thought we all had to have insurance against a 100-year floodplain, or you know what I mean? Like, what kind of floodplain are they in?
And I haven't even checked the weather out there to confirm if that was even true or not. But
I saw a video of water flowing rapidly through Montana, washing away roads.
yeah, the Yellowstone.
Yeah, Yellowstone.
Is that Montana? Yeah.
Part of it. I mean, it
Right. It's big.
spreads
Yeah,
throughout
yeah.
all the states. But
Yeah, I don't know. If you really think that your government is here to help you out, what is it? Was it 9 or 12 most scary words to government? I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help. That was Reagan said that.
yeah, like
That's so factual. Like, so we talked about yesterday. Your electric's gonna double. Your gas has already doubled. Your food's gonna start to double, and you'll have to eat live meat soon because, well, they're just gonna kill off the animals. Oh, also, part of the Green New Deal, cows emit this dangerous, carbon dioxide or whatever that's wrecking the environment. Methane that's worse than
from
the
their farts.
yeah, it's worse than
The private
cars.
jets that carry and all those fools fly around in all over the world.
Republicans just try to put something in to remove him from the climate czar that he is because of he's just flying around the world polluting more and more. But you got to remember, John Kerry is a different class of person. He's better than all of us. He's smarter than all of us.
Yeah, he's so smart.
He married a woman whose husband owned Heinz Ketchup or whatever that she gained in his death or something like that. Anyways,
You're just a plebeian. Do what you're told.
yeah, good luck.
Plebeian.
Good luck. Another interesting story. Ghislaine Maxwell's cellmate claims she was offered money to kill Epstein's accomplice, her lawyer says. And, which, I mean, we've all said the same thing. Like, surprised she's not dead yet because just like Elon Musk keeps saying is how come no one's ever been arrested for this. So she's convicted of sex trafficking. Cellmate has made multiple claims of being offered money to kill Maxwell. Lawyers for Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice say one of the female inmates of Miss Maxwell's housing unit told at least 3 other inmates that she had been offered money to murder Miss Maxwell and that she planned to strangle her in her sleep. Maxwell's lawyer alleges in a court filing Wednesday they said that the inmate who made the threat has been moved to a separate housing unit in a Brooklyn prison where Maxwell's incarcerated, presumably to protect Miss Maxwell. It's just... Depending who you are in this country depends if you are going to be subject to the rules and laws of this country. It's more and more clear every day. And I'm surprised this woman's still alive, to be honest with you, because she knows all these people. And this is all big secret, though. All this client list.
I don't understand why it's a secret. We should be demanding it. I mean, we are demanding it.
It's a secret because the people in charge are on the list.
Allegedly.
Oh no, if it was you or me on the list, we would be in jail right now. But it's big names, the people that are running our government, they're on the list.
I
On
hope I
both
would never be
sides.
on a list like that, but
Oh,
I
yes.
get your point.
Nor would I be, but the point, yes, that some people are above the law, clearly, like the Clintons. Bill Gates, been to his island before. He's
Several times. That's why his
he's
wife
Mr.
said she left
Lab
him
Meat
allegedly.
himself. That's what's funny when him and Musk go at it, because I'm like, dude, you're a scumbag that's been in Jeffrey Epstein's island that caused your divorce. Your wife, ex-wife, admitted, like said that was part of it. And you're also Mr. We can control the world population with vaccines. That's a record fact that he said. And now he owns all this farmland. He pushes lab meat. Can someone not connect the dots yet? Do you just not want to?
Some they don't want to believe it, because if they believe it, it ruins their perception of what the reality is that we live in.
No, they might want to wake up soon before they go to the grocery store and they can't get food, because you almost can't afford it now. But hey,
So where's the government going to get food all of a sudden to provide for people? Are they going to let us all start starving when? I mean, because you're either not going to be able to pay your taxes, or you're going to put food on the table for your family.
you know my recommendation.
I do. You've said it before on air.
Yeah, and the whole time, it's someone else's fault. It's Putin's fault. But the defense secretary thinks that we should send twice as much money to Ukraine to fight a war that you don't even see on TV anymore, because like it's not news anymore, right? The distraction's over.
They were able to blame Putin for a few months, so now
Well, he still blames Putin. Blames Putin for price hikes that happened literally before Putin even went into Russia and into Ukraine. But what do I know?
I've been telling you for, I don't know, 2 years now, maybe, whenever we first started talking to each other, that we're in a freaking bizarro world.
True.
You just got to look around and see it and realize that not everything is hunky-dory. Like, we want it to be hunky-dory. We want hardworking American values, success, leading the way on innovation. You can't innovate when you're, like what Chief was saying, there's not a lot of innovation whenever you're being told what to do. If you're being told to lose weight and you don't decide that you want to lose weight, you're not going to care about losing weight.
Yeah. So I have another meme. It's a meme day here.
It applies to everything.
This is probably Paul Revere, who got most of the credit for the midnight ride. That he wasn't even as. It was the other two that were more like, whatever. Anyways,
So it's been going on since Paul Revere's days.
yeah,
He
probably.
got credit for something he didn't really do. Is that what you're saying? You go in with a Paul Revere wasn't
He wasn't
as
what everyone thinks and what he's not taught in history or what you're taught in history. Yeah. Says the facts are coming. The facts are coming, which, you know, while we're all looking at this January 6th crap that doesn't matter anymore because it's just a joke. It's such a joke.
I like that one.
Oh,
Just because I can hear him saying it.
yeah.
If you've ever seen his comedy show,
Yeah. So we'll.
is that for tomorrow? Or
No.
Monday?
No. I'm going to talk about that today. I've been trying to talk about this for a while. I'll skip this one. I mean, I'll just talk briefly about it. How's that? So there's a gun control bill now they put forward. Basically, if anyone under 21 trying to do stricter background checks, mental health, whatever, which I don't see how that's going to work because that would be HIPAA violations, which is why a lot of this is like, I don't know. Which I'm not against that if you want to have more checks. But just because you're making it so that, you know, we're going to increase the checks for under 21. Well, okay, Sandy Hook killed his mother and stole her gun, so that wouldn't help. Would it have helped the one in Texas? Maybe, but I mean, all the signs are clearly in your face, and you didn't do anything about it because that's what we do. And even in New Hampshire, we pass more laws to protect kids even more from any sort of prosecution for anything they do. Facts, look it up, and take the power out of the police, give it to the school, take the power from the school, give it to no one. So you don't want stuff like this to happen, as none of us normal people in this country that actually care about things want things like that to happen, yet you continue to make laws to supposedly protect kids that you're actually not protecting anybody.
Yeah, they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth.
Yeah.
They're making it easier on one side while they're acting like they're going to try to make it harder. Hey, my whole take on it is this. If you're old enough to serve in the military, you're old enough to buy a weapon, you're old enough to buy alcohol, you're old enough to buy nicotine, whatever normal society gets. If we're saying it's okay for you to go and die on behalf of us, you should get all the privileges and your rights as an American, because gun ownership is a right. So I'm leery about red flag laws in general. I think that there are certain cases where, yes, you should probably need a cool down period, or if you're making actual threats against anyone or any like object, a school, business.
Right, but the problem with red flag laws is you're getting divorced and your ex-wife says, oh my God, he's a crazy blah, 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 or you have a disagreement with your neighbor. All I have to do is call and like, hey, yeah, Steve, he's talking crazy. He's got guns. He's going to do bad things, blah, blah, blah. They come take your guns, no due process. And then you have to prove in court, once again, no due process, no innocent to proven guilty. It's guilty until you prove yourself innocent. That's why like these red flag laws are a joke. And it's an overstretch of government because, and it's a fact. This has happened. Massachusetts had a red flag law. This guy had his guns taken away because his ex-wife, he's going through an ugly divorce. But if we want to talk about red flag laws, which is this story here, is why Beto O'Rourke chilling teenage writings about murdering children are ultimate red flag. So
wait, hang on, you're reading kind of fast.
Okay. Beto O'Rourke chilling teenage.
Chilling or shilling?
It says chilling.
Chilling?
Doesn't that say chilling?
Yeah. Oh, chilling, like as in
chilling,
like a
cold, scary, like
Halloween type of chilling.
Yes.
All right, I got it.
Teenage writing. So his writing from him about murdering children are the ultimate red flag. So this is Mr. We're going to take your AR-15.
So he wrote all
and
kinds of stuff?
I'm going to read this. So when he was 15 years old, he wrote this. It's an excerpt from a fiction that he wrote. But I don't care. He still wrote it. So it says, one day, and this is a direct quote from Beto O'Rourke. One
15-year-old Beto O'Rourke.
15-year-old. So let's not confuse that. But yeah, 15. One day, as I was driving home from work, I noticed two children crossing the street. They were happy to be free from their troubles. I knew, however, that this happiness and sense of freedom were much too overwhelming for them. This happiness was mine by right. I had earned it in my dreams. As I neared the young ones, I put all my weight on my right foot, keeping the accelerator pedal on the floor until I heard the crashing of the two children on the hood, and then the sharp cry of pain from one of the two. I was so fascinated for a moment that when, after I stopped my vehicle, I just sat in a daze, sweet visions filling my head.
This guy is a wackadoo, man. Like,
this man doesn't think you should own an AR-15 because you are not mentally capable of it, when clearly he is a nut job. No 50. If any, this right here, if you were a school teacher and you had a student that wrote this right here, you immediately should report them, because this is the ultimate red flag of a serial killer or shooter.
Well, it's not. I don't know about that, but I do know that it doesn't sound healthy.
Well, they were happy to be free from their troubles. I knew, however, that this happiness and sense of freedom were too overwhelming for them. This happiness was mine.
Yeah, that's pretty wackadooish for a 15-year-old to write that.
Yeah. And he wasn't like writing a book, This isn't like James Peterson.
Hey,
Patterson.
I have a lot of different stories that I have started over the last 4.5 years because I always wanted to be a writer. And not one of them
started with murdering two children
to steal their happiness away that wasn't real true happiness, that it belonged to me. No, mine's all about sci-fi cool stuff that makes you think, or you know what I mean? Like,
So then here comes my meme that I found that's perfect for the story. It's Beto O'Rourke, and hell yeah, we're going to take your AR. And Ron White, who's my favorite comedian. I don't think so, Scooter.
you gotta say it like Ron White. I don't think so, Scooter. I don't know. I can't do it either. But
That was a little better
I
than me.
haven't seen him in 10 years, but that's funny. I could picture him saying that when he's drinking his whiskey.
So
Just
I
like
would
the meme
say to
shows.
Beto, come to my house and come and get it, just like your hat says.
Well, what if he comes in a car?
That's true. I'll make sure my children aren't in the driveway. I wouldn't want him to, take their happiness that's duly his.
What a weirdo, man.
Let's keep in mind he's running for governor of Texas right now, and he also interrupted a press conference, blamed the people at the press conference for the shooting because they didn't take people's AR-15s. And the whole time, this psychopath moron at 15 was writing about killing young children to steal their happiness.
Yeah, it sounds like some. I mean, it's not my kind of writing. Like if I were an English teacher, I would definitely have a phone call to the parents and be like, "Hey, like this is written."
But the red flag for me in this whole thing
is pretty
I mean, okay, so you could write, all right.
chilling. I would use the word chilling or shocking.
Yeah, but the whole red flag is that they were too happy and he earned that happiness and not them. So, I'm going to take it from him.
We used to journal every day in honors English when I was, I don't know, freshman to sophomore year, right? So that would have been one of those 2 years. I don't remember ever writing about stealing anyone's happiness. I remember reflecting on, I'm kind of a jerk sometimes, and I would try to write funny stories because I was kind of cocky and arrogant. I was a little.
But any normal
sometimes,
person
but
would
like,
want everybody to be happy. I mean, your responsibility is your own happiness. Like, you're responsible for your happiness. I'm responsible for mine. You're not responsible for my happiness. That's just not how it works. But if you see me happy and you're like, I get to steal that happiness from him.
Like, there's some issues with you. Like,
You think? And this morons in politics, nationally.
now, there was a guy one time in Iraq in the gym, and we called him the Mad Whistler because he was always happy, like by the tune of his whistling, and it would make us angry because he'd like do 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 do. It's like you're working out in a war zone, people trying to hurt us every day, and
You wish you were that happy, though.
I wished I was that happy, but I did not like the whistling. But I did not wish any ill will upon him.
But
I
at
just
no
wished he
point
would
you
stop
thought
whistling.
right.
Like,
You didn't say,
why is this clown so happy over
I
here?
just wish something would happen to you. You
No, I was like, I just wanted him to stop whistling.
So, yeah.
They're some weirdos, man. I'm telling you what.
And remember, these weirdos are the ones that don't think you should have guns to protect your family, as they're protected by guards that are armed.
Hey, we all have stuff that we regret doing or saying in our lives, right? We all make mistakes. But with that being said, I won't butt it. With that being said, looking at those words, that is chilling.
Yeah. See, told you. See, chilling.
I thought you said shilling.
Nah, no shillings. 2 shillings. And then I have a positive news of the day. And
This is what we're going to go out with?
yeah.
Heading into the weekend.
Heading in the weekend, Father's Day weekend.
Happy Father's Day, Dad, if you're watching.
Yes, happy Father's Day, Dad. Happy Father's Day, Steve.
Thank you. You too, Tim.
Um,
And all the other fathers out there.
yes.
Be responsible for your children. Be a good role model. Try to be. I mean, we all try to be. I get it. We all have our moments where we're embarrassed of things we do or say. But going back to stealing their happiness, like, how do you think like that as a 15-year-old?
Did you see the thing they're trying to change that?
It's so artistic, Tim and Steve. Y'all don't realize that that's great art you're hearing. I mean, think about it. No.
They want to change Father's Day because it's, not a good term. It needs to be, the hell was it?
People's Day?
I don't know, some sort of like Parents' Day or some crap. Happy Father's Day. If you don't like the term Father's Day, F off.
I won't go that far, but like I don't understand. There's a Mother's Day.
Yeah, well, that's
Is that because
birthing. That's birthing person's
Is that because
day,
they don't know how to define a woman?
right? Because now you have to be a biologist to define a woman.
We are in a bizarro world.
And there's still people out there that actually think this is like acceptable, normal. Like,
I don't think it's as many people as the
no.
press and the amount of stuff that we're bombarded with. It's to try to like break people to where at the end of the day you're like, yeah, whatever, just leave me alone, right? Like you just want to be left alone. They're not going to leave you alone with the amount of prices that everything's increasing. It's either going to collapse the government because at some point in time people are going to have to make a decision.
Yeah, do you eat or do you have heat or do you yeah.
It's crazy.
But remember, the people that can't even define what a man and a woman are think you should lose your guns. Because you are not someone that should be trusted with a gun.
Again, it's a small minority that has control of the media. The media is a bunch of puppets. You can go out and find clips where they're all sponsored by Pfizer, so they're not going to say anything negative about Pfizer on those shows.
I've never seen so many Pfizer ads in my life. Like, I was mad when I went to the Red Sox game and had a Moderna on the back, on the Green Monster. Like, I legit, like...
And we should have walked out. It would have saved us that 10-0 loss that we saw.
The Black Lives Matter freaking banner offends me less than the Moderna one. But anyways, this will leave on a positive note. So...
It offends you less because now the truth is out there to where it was a money grab and all the people at the top went and bought mansions and they didn't invest the money back into their movement.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's true.
Yeah. Like once again, I'll put this out. I welcome anyone, to sit in that chair and debate us on these topics. Anyone at all. Come on.
If I'm wrong, if I can't prove my point.
But good luck. I'm not going to stand up.
I mean, I was a pretty good debater back in the day, and I look at both sides of every issue, believe it or not, and I make an informed decision about, all right, well, this is what I believe more than the other side.
And like I said,
and it doesn't take much though to convince me if it's maybe I'm missing something or I'm reading a word, just like I heard you say chilling, and it didn't connect. You know, because you were speaking kind of fast. When you read kind of fast. I'm slow and methodical. Take my time marinating over the words.
Yeah, people are trying to listen to this show. If we go slow and methodical, most people aren't listening at this point in the show anyways.
Maybe they like to fall asleep to the sweet sounds of our voices. Put it on at night, listen to Steve pontificate about the bizarro world that we live in. Anyway, my point is yes, anybody is welcome to come in here, and I think we're both open-minded enough to where because I will be the first one to tell you that I read a bunch of stuff and try to figure out what I believe is real, what feels correct to me is.
Listen,
I call it discernment.
If I had the money right now, I would literally fly to Kansas, to these farms, and look at this stuff for myself. And I'd actually pay for an autopsy of one of these cows to see what really happened. I just unfortunately don't have the money and resources to do that. But hey, if someone out there has lots of money and wants to pay us to do this stuff, I will gladly put my neck on the line and fly out there and see why these cows
Unless
really died.
Unless I have to have a swab, I won't fly.
That's true. But if you've got money, they could private jet us out.
We take a train.
Whatever. However, but...
I think you got to get swabbed on a train, too. Or you used to. I don't know.
But like on this show, just so people understand, on the show, we don't just read a story and then say, here's the story. Now, some things I do. I look up more on Maxwell and the inmate saying that? No, because it's not important enough to, like, the story's out there.
The story is really, where is the list of their clients?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it just brings Maxwell back up in the sense.
But all the dead cows that mysteriously died because of heat. So then I said, okay, fine. I'll look at the weather. I'll look at the temperatures. I'll look at all these things that they're claiming. And it doesn't add up.
Right. I mean, you're no meteorologist, but, like,
no.
You know, that was my point from pointing out.
But I have cows.
In New Hampshire, we're under drought-like conditions.
Yeah. And I don't believe that either. But
so my point was, if someone was coming here and was like, well, the temperature went from 70 to 100. Okay, well, it went from 60 to 96 here.
We have 40,
For 2 or
50
3
degree
days in a
swings
row.
all the time. Yeah,
And
that's part of New
Did
England.
your cows die? Did your goat die? Did
No.
your chickens die?
No dead animals. You know why? Because I feed and water them like I'm supposed to. Because if they had water, they're fine. It's this hot in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, every single year. Do those cows just drop dead? No.
At least we haven't heard about it.
Oh, you would. I'm sure.
Yeah.
2,000 cows. Suddenly, 2,000 just died.
It doesn't help that guy sent that tweet out, and you can't really look up that guy and find out if it's true or not.
Nah, it was just extra information to throw into the thing.
But you know what I mean? Like, it could be true. Like, I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh, I'd love to have that letter from the FDA that
I mean,
said
they do that with farmers all the time to destroy their crops instead
Yeah.
of selling them to
Yes.
manage the price of it.
Exactly.
But yet the administrations aren't in charge of manipulating prices on anything. But yet the government goes and pays farmers to destroy their crops. Like, that's a real thing.
Maybe that's what that 28 million to the FDA was for.
To pay off killing all the
Paying
cows.
off killing the cows. We always wonder what the other, well, technically 23 million was for, because 5
I mean, do you
million
think
was
if you
supposed
went
to
to
work.
like a Hollywood soiree a year from now, like if this trajectory goes on what it's supposed to, do you think they're going to be serving Soylent to their guests? Or are they going to be serving cattle or?
No, because they're above us. They would never eat any of this stuff.
Right. What about all the bugs that they've been trying to encourage people to eat? You think they'll have a platter of
No.
chocolate dipped roaches for people to pick
No.
through?
I don't believe so.
I don't either. That's a facetious question, rhetorical question.
Yeah. Anyways,
Go back to the old days when men and women said, "Oh, you're not doing what you say for us to do, then we're not doing it either." Like, it's that simple. It's if you're not rules for thee and not for me. Like, no, rules for all of us, or get out of my face.
yeah, I agree with that.
And I gotta agree to that rule. And if you're going to try to change the Constitution up, have a convention, let all the states vote on it, and do it the right way. But they know that they can't do that, so that's why they want to pack the court and they want to tell you and convince you now that rights aren't absolute. Yeah, they are. According to our Constitution, that's why it was formed, so that we all have a basic idea of where we start from. And then, because it's an imperfect document, we developed a way to work on it, add to it, and it involves a convention where all the states have to vote, and then you can amend the Constitution. But you can't just hand wave it. You can't put some activist judge that doesn't know basic biology that you learn in health class when we're all pulled aside in the whatever grade that was. But I was pretty young when I was like, wait, what? Why am I learning this?
Yeah.
Anyway, my rant is over with. Thank you for
'cause-
allowing me as you tried to close the show out 10 minutes ago.
No, that's all right. Because we could keep this going all day long. I mean, I'm pretty fired up.
But nobody wants to listen to this.
Some people at this point would be like, no, actually, this is probably what they would like to listen to, some of them, but this is what I would want to listen to personally. But
Vote for a candidate that has your values and morals, not because a party tells you to vote for them.
right, exactly. So this November, remember this, because this is all about November. Just
Yeah,
like
this is all to
this is
make
all about
life
November.
miserable so that
But I don't understand the factor here, because you make life miserable, which just means more Democrats are going to get voted out, unless, mysteriously the racist monkeypox has a huge
sexist,
run at it,
monkeypox,
sexist,
racist,
racist, comes at us,
homophobic.
and we have to mail our votes in again. Yeah, I'll be at the polling place no matter what happens, even if I have to wear a freaking hazmat suit to vote. I won't mail my vote in. If you trust mail-in ballots so much, I want you to take $500 cash right now. I want you to go bring it to the post office. I want you to mail it back to yourself. Would you? Because I don't like mailing anything to the post office because they lose everything. I've had so many experiences with the post office losing stuff. Child support check, just disappeared. I don't know where it went, right?
I've had a few cards with cash. Like I said, my mom used to send me $20 every week or so, a couple of weeks when I was in college. Every once in a while, they wouldn't make it to me.
Yeah, that was back then. It's worse today.
Man, that was back in 94
Anyways.
to 98.
Positive quote of the day. Choose your battles wisely. if you fight them all, you'll be too tired to win the ones that really matter. And you see there's a Native American on a horse, you got to see if that's offensive to somebody. Keep in mind, I have Native American blood in me, so pound sand.
Is this true, or is this...
No, it's true. My grandfather's grandmother, I think it was my grandfather's grandmother, great-grandmother, was full-blooded Native American.
I didn't know if we had a senator from Massachusetts on our...
I probably have more Native American blood in me than...
Elizabeth Warren action going on.
Pocahontas probably has less Native American blood in her than I have.
Well, I don't think she has any, does she? Or it's like .001?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Right.
I'll get fact checked on that. I'm sure I'm wrong. But
Basically,
it's
the
not much.
percentage of error in the test is what she had,
Yes.
Yeah.
That works. That's safer to say than what...
It's true. So, if we're alive come Monday and we're not canceled or in prison for going against our government.
I'm not going against the government. I'm going against the policies. I love America. But it takes all of us to realize that right now there's a class of people running things that don't really care about either one of us. Or they're creating crises. I don't know why I almost said crises to keep us stressed out when we shouldn't be stressed out.
And when all this stuff happens, remember you heard it on the Tim and Steve show first. Like the power thing, you heard it on the Tim and Steve show yesterday, and it was on Channel 9 last night. Keep that in mind.
What time did we go? What time did we get published yesterday, though?
Before the news.
3 o'clock?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it got published about 3.
Yeah.
We filmed it at 8.
No, yesterday was later. Yesterday was 11 because Chief was coming in. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
Normally we do these at 8 when Steve shows up on time.
Yep. I was late today, and I was actually late. I was perusing about town yesterday. I was at Ocean State.
Yeah.
While you're sitting here waiting on me.
Anyways.
Jackwagon.
Have a great weekend, guys. Have a happy Father's Day. Remember, call your dad if you're not going to see him. Say happy Father's Day, and we'll see you. We'll see you around town, or we'll see you on Monday morning for the Tim and Steve show. Have a good one.